My brother said he saw me steal $15,000. I lost my fiancée, my job, my family. 10 years later he's dying, and now he wants to tell the truth. Posted to r/relationship_advice. I've been staring at my phone for 3 days. My mother's last voicemail is still unplayed because I already know what it says. She's called 11 times since Tuesday. My father twice. They never call. I'm a physical therapist. I'm 36 years old. I live 2,847 miles from the small town where I grew up, and I haven't spoken to my family in nearly a decade. I built this life from nothing, from less than nothing, after my brother destroyed everything I had with a single lie. Now he's dying. Terminal cancer. 6 weeks, maybe 8 if he's lucky. And he wants to see me. He wants to make things right. I don't know if I can do this. I don't know if I should. And I don't know who else to ask, so I'm asking strangers on the internet. Maybe you can help me see something I can't. The beginning. 10 years ago, I was 26 years old and my life was perfect. I know how that sounds, naive, maybe even arrogant, but it's the truth. I had just finished my doctorate in physical therapy. I was working at the only sports medicine clinic in our hometown, treating high school athletes and weekend warriors and elderly folks who just wanted to garden without pain. I loved that job. I was good at it. I was engaged to my college sweetheart. We'd been together for 5 years, and I was going to marry her in the spring. Her family had a farm about 20 minutes outside of town, and we used to talk about buying the old Peterson property next door, raising kids where there was room to run. I could see the whole thing. My whole life, mapped out and beautiful. My parents lived in the same house where my brother and I grew up. Old farmhouse, paid off decades ago, nothing fancy but solid. My father was old school in every way. He'd worked construction his whole life, and he kept cash. Not in a bank, not in investments. Cash. He didn't trust institutions, didn't trust anything he couldn't hold in his hands. Over the years, he'd saved up what he called his emergency fund. $15,000, kept in a lockbox in his closet. I knew about the money because everyone knew. It wasn't exactly a secret. My father talked about it the way some men talk about their trucks or their hunting rifles. It was a point of pride. Tangible proof that he'd provided for his family. My brother was 24 then. 2 years younger than me, always in my shadow, always struggling. He'd dropped out of college after 2 semesters, bounced between jobs, dated girls who brought drama. My parents worried about him constantly. I tried to help when I could, but he resented me for it. The golden child, he used to call me. Half joking, half bitter. I didn't know he was gambling. None of us did. The day everything changed. It was a Thursday in October. I remember because my fiancée had a work thing that night, some kind of professional development dinner, and I'd taken the day off to help my parents winterize their house. That was the kind of thing I did, showed up, helped out, played the good son. I spent most of the morning up on a ladder cleaning gutters, then came inside for lunch. My parents weren't home. My father had a doctor's appointment. My mother went with him. They'd be back by 2, they said. So I made a sandwich, watched some TV, took a nap on the couch. My brother was supposed to come by later to help move some furniture. I left around 3. My brother arrived maybe 30 minutes after. I found this out later, pieced together from what everyone said. My parents got home around 4:30. The money was gone. I got the call that night. My father's voice was strange, flat, controlled, the way it got when he was trying not to explode. He asked me to come over. When I got there, my mother was crying at the kitchen table, and my father was standing with his arms crossed, staring at me like I was a stranger. "Where is it?" he asked. I didn't understand. I asked what he was talking about. The money. The 15,000. Where did you put it? The accusation hit me like a physical blow. I told him I didn't take anything. I had no idea what he was talking about. I'd been asleep on the couch most of the afternoon. Your brother saw you. Those 4 words changed my entire life. My brother was sitting in the living room. He wouldn't look at me. When my father called him in, he told his story in a quiet, reluctant voice, like it hurt him to say it. He'd arrived around 3:30, he said. He came in through the back door and saw me coming out of their bedroom. I was holding something, stuffing it into my jacket. I didn't see him. I left through the front door. It was a lie. Every word of it was a lie. But I had no way to prove it. The fallout. What do you do when your own family looks at you like a criminal? When your mother won't meet your eyes and your father asks you, in a voice that breaks, to just tell the truth and give the money back? I swore I didn't take it. I begged them to believe me. I asked why. Why would I steal from them? I had a good job, I had savings, I was getting married. What possible reason would I have? My brother just shook his head sadly. I don't know, man. I just know what I saw. The thing about small towns is that gossip moves faster than truth. Within a week, everyone knew. The clinic where I worked started getting calls, parents asking if I should really be trusted around their children. My boss called me in, told me he believed me, but the optics were bad. Maybe I should take some time off. Let things cool down. Things didn't cool down. My fiancée tried to stand by me at first. She believed me, or she wanted to. But her parents didn't. Her father called me a thief to my face and told me I'd never marry his daughter. Her mother wouldn't let me in the house. My fiancée was caught in the middle, torn between the man she loved and the family she'd known her whole life. She lasted 3 weeks. I don't blame her. I did for a long time, but I don't anymore. She was 25 years old, and everyone she trusted was telling her she was about to marry a liar and a thief. What was she supposed to do? Trust me against the whole world? She broke off the engagement in a coffee shop. She cried the whole time. Said she loved me, but she couldn't do it. Couldn't start a marriage with this cloud over us. Couldn't fight her family forever. I watched her walk out, and I felt something die inside me. Update 1. The escape. 6 weeks after the accusation, I left. There was nothing left for me there. No job, no fiancé, no family willing to look at me without suspicion. My parents hadn't formally disowned me, but they might as well have. My mother sent me a letter saying she wanted to believe me, but the evidence was clear. She asked me to return the money and they'd forgive me. I never responded. I packed everything I owned into my car and drove west. I had maybe $8,000 saved, and I used most of it to put a deposit on a crappy apartment in a city where no one knew my name. I got a job at a chain physical therapy clinic, entry-level despite my doctorate. I worked doubles, picked up every shift, tried to exhaust myself so I wouldn't have time to think. The first year was the hardest. I'd wake up at 3 a.m., heart pounding, replaying that conversation in my parents' kitchen. Going over every detail, trying to figure out what I could have done differently. How I could have proven my innocence. Who else might have taken the money? I knew it was my brother. I knew it in my gut from the first moment, but I couldn't prove it, and even thinking it felt like madness. Why would he do that? Why would he frame me? We weren't close, but we weren't enemies. I couldn't make it make sense. So I stopped trying. I put my family in a box, sealed it shut, and focused on surviving. I think about the life I would have had. The wife. The kids maybe. The career in my hometown. He didn't just take money, he took a whole future from me. It took 5 years to rebuild. I got licensed in my new state, worked my way up, eventually opened my own practice with a partner. I dated sporadically but never seriously. Something was broken in me, some ability to trust, to believe that anyone could really know me and still choose me. By the time I was 33, I had money in the bank, respect in my profession, and a nice apartment with a view. I had friends, real friends, people who knew my history and supported me anyway. I had a life. But I also had a hole in my chest where my family used to be. Update 2. The phone call. 3 days ago, my mother called. I almost didn't answer. We haven't spoken in 8 years, since I finally told her to stop calling unless she was ready to believe me, but something made me pick up. Your brother is dying, she said. No preamble, no small talk. He has cancer. It's in his liver and his bones. The doctors say he has 6 weeks. I didn't say anything. I couldn't. He wants to see you, she continued. Her voice was thick, wet with tears. He has something to tell you. Something he needs to say before. She broke off. I heard her take a shaking breath. He confessed, she said. Last week. He told us everything. He stole the money. He was gambling and he owed people, bad people, and he took it and he blamed you because he was scared. He's been living with it for 10 years, and he can't die with a lie. The world tilted. I had to sit down. He wants to see you, she said again. He wants to tell you himself. He wants to make things right. I hung up without saying a word. Update 3. The truth. My mother has sent me 3 emails since then, each one longer than the last. She's filled in the details. My brother was apparently too ashamed to tell me directly. He'd gotten into gambling our senior year of college. Online poker at first, then sports betting, then anything he could find. By the time he was 24, he was in deep, nearly $20,000 in debt to people who didn't accept payment plans. They'd threatened him, told him what they'd do to him if he didn't pay up. He was desperate. He knew about the money in the closet. He knew I'd been at the house that day, alone for hours. He saw an opportunity. According to my mother, he never expected it to go as far as it did. He thought I'd pay the money back to smooth things over. I had savings, I was the responsible one, or that our parents would eventually let it go. He didn't expect my fiancée to leave. He didn't expect me to lose my job. He didn't expect me to move across the country and cut everyone off. By the time he realized the damage, it was too late. He was in too deep. Confessing would have meant admitting he'd destroyed his brother's life for gambling money. So he stayed quiet. Let the lie fester. Watched me disappear and told himself there was nothing he could do. For 10 years, he's been living with this. He got sober from gambling 3 years ago, apparently. Started going to therapy. But he never told anyone the truth until the cancer diagnosis gave him a deadline he couldn't avoid. He wants forgiveness because he needs peace. What about my peace? Where was that for 10 years while I rebuilt my life from ashes? Update 4. The pleas. My parents are devastated. My mother's emails are incoherent with grief and guilt. She keeps apologizing, keeps asking me to forgive her, to forgive my brother, to come home so we can be a family again. My father sent one terse text, "I'm sorry. We were wrong. Please come." That's it. After 10 years of silence, of choosing my brother's lie over my truth, that's what I get. We were wrong. My brother has apparently asked to speak to me directly, but I haven't returned his calls. He left one voicemail that I made myself listen to. His voice was thin, tired, nothing like I remembered. "I know you probably won't listen to this," he said. "I know you have every right to hate me. I hate myself. I've hated myself for 10 years. I took everything from you because I was weak and scared and selfish, and there's nothing I can say that makes that okay. I'm not asking you to forgive me. I'm not asking for anything. I need you to know that I'm sorry. That I know what I did. That I'm not going to die pretending I didn't destroy your life." He paused. Coughed. It sounded painful. "If you want to come, I'll tell you everything. Answer any question. Take any anger you want to give me. I deserve it. But if you can't, if you need to stay away, I understand that too. I just needed you to hear me say it. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry." The voicemail ended. I played it 4 times. Then I threw my phone across the room. My rage. I don't know how to describe what I'm feeling. It's not clean or simple. It's not just anger, though there's plenty of that. It's something deeper, something that's been calcifying inside me for a decade. My mother says he's dying and I should let go of my anger. But my anger is all I have left from that time. It's the only thing that was truly mine. Everyone wants me to forgive him. My mother is begging. My father, in his quiet way, is begging too. Even my therapist, I started seeing someone after the phone call, gently suggested that forgiveness might bring me peace. But what about what I need? Everyone wants me to forgive him so they can feel better. So the family can heal. So he can die in peace. What about what I need? I think about the life I was supposed to have. The wife who should have been mine. The children we might have had by now, they'd be 7 or 8, riding bikes, learning to swim. The career I built in my hometown, serving people I grew up with. The family dinners and holiday gatherings and ordinary, unremarkable moments of connection. All of it gone. Erased. Because my brother needed money for gambling and didn't have the courage to face the consequences. He stole money. Then he stole my name. Then he stole my family. Now he wants to steal my right to be angry before he dies? That's what it feels like. Like even now, even at the end, he's asking me to give him something. My anger is mine. I earned it. I built a life on its foundation, used it as fuel when I had nothing else. And now he wants to take that too. The question. I've been going back and forth for 3 days. My flight would be 4 hours. I could be there by tonight if I wanted to. Part of me wants to go. Not to forgive him, I don't know if I can do that, but to look him in the eye. To make him say it to my face. To ask him all the questions that have haunted me. Did you ever think about confessing? Did you watch me leave and feel nothing? Did you know what you were taking from me, really know, or did you tell yourself it wasn't that bad? Part of me wants to stay away. To let him die without my forgiveness, without my presence, without the absolution he's seeking. Why should he get peace? I didn't get peace. I got a decade of rebuilding and loneliness and learning to live without a family. And part of me, a small, quiet part, wonders if seeing him might help me. Not him. If hearing him confess, watching him own what he did, might finally let me set down this weight I've been carrying. I don't know. My brother is dying. In a few weeks, he'll be gone, and I'll never have this chance again. If I don't go, I'll have to live with that choice forever. But if I do go, I'll have to face everything I've spent 10 years running from. My mother keeps calling. My father sent another text this morning. He's getting weaker. Please. I haven't responded. What I know. Here's what I know is true. My brother stole $15,000 and blamed me for it. His lie cost me my career, my fiancée, my relationship with my parents, and 10 years of my life. I didn't do anything wrong, and I was punished anyway. Also true, he was 24 years old and terrified. He was in debt to dangerous people. He made a terrible choice in a moment of panic, and then he was too weak to undo it. He's been living in his own kind of prison for 10 years, carrying guilt that apparently made him physically ill sometimes. Also true, he's not asking me to excuse what he did. He's not saying he deserves forgiveness. He's just asking me to hear him, to witness his confession, to know the truth after all these years. I don't know if that's enough. I don't know if anything is enough. The harder truth. My therapist asked me something yesterday that I haven't been able to stop thinking about. What do you need from this situation? She asked. Not what your mother needs, or your father, or your brother. What do you need? I told her I didn't know. She nodded. That might be a good place to start. So I've been sitting with it, trying to figure out what I actually need. Not what I should feel, or what a good person would do, or what makes sense logically. What I need. I need someone to acknowledge what was taken from me. Really acknowledge it. Not just, I'm sorry, but I understand the magnitude of what I destroyed, and I know I can never give it back. I need to know why. Not just the gambling debts, I understand that part, but why me? Why was he willing to sacrifice me specifically? Did he think I could handle it? Did he resent me that much? Was I just convenient? I need to stop being the villain in my own family story. For 10 years, I've been the one who stole the money and ran away. Even now, with the truth out, I can feel the narrative shifting. Now I'm the one who won't forgive his dying brother. I'm still the bad guy. I'm always the bad guy. And maybe, I need to see him. Not for his sake. For mine. To look at the person who destroyed my life and understand that he's just a person. Weak and scared and dying. Not a monster, not an abstract villain, just a man who made a terrible choice and has to live, and die, with it. I don't know if that would help. It might make it worse. It might make the anger bigger, or sharper, or more unbearable. But I won't know unless I go. Update 5. Where I am now. It's late. I've been writing this for hours, trying to untangle my own thoughts. My mother called again an hour ago. I let it go to voicemail. My brother's voicemail is still on my phone. I haven't deleted it. There's a flight tomorrow morning. I haven't booked it yet. The cursor is hovering over the confirmation button, and I can't make myself click. Part of me thinks I should go. Part of me thinks going means letting him win one more time, getting what he wants at my expense. Part of me is terrified that I'll get there and feel nothing, or feel too much, or say something I can't take back. He's my brother. He was my little brother, once, before everything went wrong. I used to help him with his homework. I taught him to ride a bike. I punched a kid in 8th grade for making fun of him. We shared a room for 16 years. And he looked my parents in the eye and told them I was a thief. He watched me lose everything and said nothing. For 10 years, he let me be the villain so he could avoid the consequences of his own actions. I don't know how to hold both of those truths at the same time. The question I'm asking you. So here I am, Reddit. 3 days out from a phone call that changed everything again. My brother is dying. My parents are desperate. The past is finally, painfully, coming into the light. Should I go? Can I forgive him? Should I even try? Does a deathbed confession erase 10 years of damage? Does dying give someone the right to be heard? He's not asking for absolution. I believe that, actually. I listened to his voicemail enough times to hear it in his voice. He knows what he did is unforgivable. He's not expecting me to forgive him. He just wants to say the truth out loud, to my face, before he's gone. But do I owe him that? After everything he took from me, do I owe him the chance to die with a clear conscience? My anger is all I have left from that time. It's the only thing that was truly mine. If I let it go, if I forgive him, or even just go to see him, what am I left with? Who am I, without the anger that's shaped me for a decade? And if I don't go, if he dies without seeing me, will I regret it? Will I spend the rest of my life wondering what he would have said, what I would have felt, whether anything could have been different? I don't know. I've never been so lost. Final thought. 10 years ago, my brother stole $15,000 and blamed me for it. Tonight, I'm sitting alone in an apartment 3,000 miles from everyone I used to love, trying to decide whether to watch him die. I think about the life I would have had. The wife. The kids, maybe. The career in my hometown. He didn't just take money, he took a whole future from me. Maybe I'll book the flight. Maybe I'll stay here and let him go without me. I don't know what's right. I'm not sure there is a right answer. All I know is that I'm tired. I'm so tired of carrying this. And I don't know if going will make it lighter or heavier. If you've read this far, thank you. I don't know if there's advice anyone can give me. Maybe I just needed to tell the story. To put it all in writing and see it clearly for the first time. My brother is dying. He wants to see me. And I have to decide, very soon, whether I can face him. I'll let you know what I choose. TLDR. My brother falsely accused me of stealing $15,000 from my parents 10 years ago, destroying my engagement, my career, and my relationship with my family. I moved across the country and rebuilt from nothing. Now he has terminal cancer and has confessed the truth. He stole the money for gambling debts. He wants to see me before he dies to apologize in person. My parents are begging me to come. I'm torn between wanting closure and refusing to give him peace. Should I go? Can I forgive him? Does a deathbed confession mean anything after a decade of damage? Here's what I can't stop thinking about. He wants forgiveness because he needs peace. What about my peace? Where was that for 10 years while I rebuilt my life from ashes? My brother stole $15,000. Then he stole my name. Then he stole my fiancée, my career, my family, my hometown. Now he wants to steal my right to be angry before he dies. 10 years ago, he looked my parents in the eye and said he saw me take the money. He watched my fiancée leave. He watched me lose my job. He watched me pack my car and drive 3,000 miles away from everything I loved. And he said nothing. For 10 years, he let me be the villain so he could avoid the consequences of his own choices. Now he's dying. Cancer. 6 weeks. And suddenly the truth matters. Suddenly he can't live, can't die, with the lie anymore. My mother says I should let go of my anger. But my anger is all I have left from that time. It's the only thing that was truly mine. I built a life on its foundation. Used it as fuel when I had nothing else. Everyone wants me to forgive him so they can feel better. So the family can heal. So he can die in peace. What about what I need? I think about the life I would have had. The wife. The kids, maybe. The career in my hometown, treating people I grew up with. He didn't just take money, he took a whole future from me. He was 24 and terrified. He owed dangerous people. He made a terrible choice in a moment of panic. I understand that. But understanding isn't forgiving. And forgiving isn't forgetting. He's not asking me to excuse what he did. I believe that. He knows it's unforgivable. He just wants to say the truth out loud, to my face, before he's gone. But do I owe him that? After everything he took from me, do I owe him the chance to die with a clear conscience? My therapist asked what I need. Not what my mother needs, or my father, or my brother. What I need. I need someone to really acknowledge what was taken. Not just, I'm sorry, but, I understand the magnitude of what I destroyed. I need to stop being the villain in my own family story. Even now, I can feel the narrative shifting. Now I'm the one who won't forgive his dying brother. I'm still the bad guy. There's a flight tomorrow. I haven't booked it. If I go, I give him what he wants. If I stay, I live with that choice forever. I don't know what's right. I'm not sure there is a right answer. I just know I'm tired. So tired of carrying this. And I don't know if going will make it lighter or heavier. Everyone thinks being the golden child means you're loved more. It doesn't. It means you're useful. r/true off my chest. I just spent 2 hours reading through posts on this subreddit about golden children and the damage they cause. Story after story of people explaining how their parents favored one sibling over them. How the golden child got everything while they got nothing. How the favored one lorded it over them, basked in the attention, became arrogant and entitled. And I read every comment. Every validation. The golden child is just as bad as the narcissistic parents take. I'm not here to tell you those stories aren't true. I'm not here to defend golden children as a category or minimize anyone's pain. What happened to those overlooked siblings is real. The damage is real. The resentment is valid. But I'm going to tell you something you rarely hear. I'm 32F. I was the golden child. I was the favorite. I know it. I've known it my whole life. And it destroyed me too. This isn't a redemption arc. I'm not looking for forgiveness. I'm not trying to minimize what my brother went through. I just want someone, anyone, to understand that the person you think won might have lost just as much. Just differently. Everyone thinks being the golden child means you're loved more. It doesn't. It means you're useful. My childhood, the trophy in the display case. Let me be clear about what I got that my brother didn't. I went to private school from 4th grade on. He stayed in public school. My parents told him it was because I was academically gifted and needed more challenge. The real reason? Private school was expensive, and they could only afford one kid there. I was the one they wanted to show off. When I turned 16, I got a new car. A Honda Civic, nothing fancy, but it was mine. When my brother turned 16 2 years later, he got my father's old truck with 180,000 miles on it. The transmission went out 6 months later, and he had to buy his own replacement car with money from his part-time job at the grocery store. My college was paid for. 4 years at a good state university, room and board included. My brother took out loans, worked 2 jobs, and still graduated with $40,000 in debt. I'm listing these facts because I need you to understand. I know. I've always known. I wasn't blind to what was happening. I saw every single disparity, and I felt them all. But I was a child. I didn't wake up at 8 years old and scheme to take the best opportunities from my brother. I didn't manipulate my parents into sending me to private school. I didn't ask for a new car while plotting to make sure he got a broken-down truck. These were decisions made by adults. I was just the child who received them. And every single gift came with a price tag I didn't understand until decades later. The private school wasn't just education. It was my mother's chance to network with other wealthy parents. I was trotted out at school functions, expected to perform, expected to excel. When I got a B+ in math in 7th grade, you would have thought I'd burned the house down. We didn't sacrifice this much for B+, my father said at dinner. My brother, sitting across from me with his public school report card that no one had bothered to look at, just stared at his plate. The car. That wasn't a gift. It was a leash. I wasn't allowed to go anywhere my parents didn't approve of. The GPS was monitored. My curfew was 9 p.m. on school nights, 10 p.m. on weekends. My brother, with his broken truck and eventual self-bought replacement, went wherever he wanted. No one tracked him. No one cared enough to track him. College. I was allowed to apply to exactly 4 schools, all of which my parents selected. When I got accepted to my dream program across the country, they refused to pay. I went where they told me to go, majored in what they told me to major in, and graduated with a degree in business that I never wanted. My brother majored in environmental science. Something he loved. Something that mattered to him. He's now doing work that actually fulfills him. I'm an account manager at a company I don't care about, in a career I never chose, wondering what I might have been if anyone had ever asked me what I wanted instead of telling me what I was going to do. Update 1. Watching my brother disappear. The thing nobody tells you about being the golden child is that you get a front row seat to watching your sibling give up. I remember the exact moment my brother stopped trying. We were 14 and 12. It was Christmas, and my parents had gotten me a laptop. Top of the line for the time, expensive, exactly what I'd asked for. My brother had asked for a guitar. He'd been playing on a borrowed one at school, teaching himself, spending hours watching YouTube tutorials. He got a gift card to Best Buy. $50. I watched him open it. I watched his face go completely still. Not angry. Not sad. Just empty. Like a door closing behind his eyes. Thanks, he said, in this flat voice I'd never heard from him before. He never asked for anything for Christmas again. Every year after that, he'd just shrug and say he didn't need anything. My parents praised him for being low maintenance. They never understood that he'd simply stopped believing they would give him what he wanted, so he protected himself by not wanting anything. Year after year, I watched him build walls. Every family dinner became quieter. Every vacation became more strained. He'd sit in the corner with a book, disappearing into himself while my parents fussed over my achievements. I'd win an academic award, and they'd talk about it for 3 days. He'd make the varsity soccer team, and they'd forget to go to his first game because of my orchestra recital. A recital I didn't even want them at. A recital where I looked out at the audience and saw them beaming at me while knowing my brother was playing his heart out on a field across town with no one cheering for him. By the time he was 16, he barely spoke at family dinners. By 18, he was counting the days until he could leave. I tried to talk to him. So many times. Hey, do you want to hang out this weekend? We could go see that movie you wanted to see. I'm busy. I could help you with your college applications if you want. I just went through it, I know some tricks. I've got it handled. Mom and Dad asked if you wanted to come to my graduation party. You don't have to if you don't want to, but I'd really like you there. I'll be working. He wasn't even cold about it. That was almost worse. He was just gone. Checked out. Like I was a stranger making small talk in an elevator. I used to resent him for pulling away. Now I understand he was the only one smart enough to escape. Update 2. The weight of gold. Let me tell you about the pressure. Because that part never makes it into the golden child stories. Everything I ever received came with expectations attached. Every opportunity was a debt to be repaid. Every advantage was a reminder that I had been invested in, and investments were supposed to yield returns. When I was 17, I had a nervous breakdown during AP exams. Full-on panic attack in the middle of my AP calculus test. Couldn't breathe. Had to be taken out of the room. The school called my parents. My mother's first words weren't, "Are you okay?" They were, "Can you retake it?" When I graduated college magna cum laude, my father's response was, "Should have been summa." When I got my first job, they wanted to know why it wasn't at a more prestigious company. When I got promoted, they wanted to know when I'd be promoted again. Nothing was ever enough. The bar kept moving. The goalposts kept shifting. I was running a race with no finish line, and every time I thought I was close, they moved it another mile away. My brother got neglect. I got control. I'm not sure which one is worse. I think we both lost. He learned that he didn't matter. I learned that I only mattered when I was achieving something. Different wounds. Both deep. Both lasting. The thing about being the favorite is that it comes with a constant, thrumming anxiety. What if I stop being good enough? What if I fail? What happens when the golden child becomes tarnished? I found out at 27. Update 3. The fall. I had worked myself into exhaustion for years. I was in a relationship I didn't want to be in because my parents approved of him. I was in a career I didn't choose because they'd chosen it for me. I was living a life that looked perfect on paper but felt like wearing a costume that didn't fit. And then I hit a wall. It started with insomnia. Then anxiety attacks. Then the depression crept in, slow and heavy, like fog filling a room. I started making mistakes at work. Forgot deadlines. Missed meetings. My performance reviews went from excellent to concerning. I tried to hide it. Golden children are trained to hide weakness. We learn early that love is conditional on performance, so any sign of struggling is a threat to our existence. But you can't hide a breakdown forever. My mother came to visit and found me crying in my apartment, which I hadn't cleaned in 2 weeks. Dishes piled in the sink. Laundry everywhere. Me, still in pajamas at 3 p.m. on a Wednesday, having called in sick for the 4th time that month. "What is wrong with you?" she asked. Not with concern. With disgust. With disappointment. With the voice of an investor realizing their stock is tanking. "I think I need help," I said. "I think I'm depressed. I think I've been depressed for a long time." Her response, "Depression is for people who don't have your advantages. You have everything. You have no reason to be depressed. You need to get yourself together before you throw away everything we worked for." Everything we worked for. That's when I started to see the cage. He hates me for getting everything. But what I got was a cage made of gold. I couldn't see the bars until I was already trapped. I got therapy. Against my parents' wishes, with money I scraped together myself, I found a therapist who specialized in family dynamics and toxic systems. And she helped me see what I'd never been able to see before. My parents didn't love me more. They just needed me more. There's a difference I didn't understand until I was 30. I was an extension of them. A trophy to display. A way to prove that they were good parents, successful people, raising a successful child. I wasn't a daughter to love, I was a project to perfect. My brother's neglect was obvious. It was visible. Everyone could see it. But my form of damage was hidden beneath layers of privilege and opportunity. Who would feel sorry for the kid who got everything? No one. Including me. I didn't even feel sorry for myself. I just felt confused about why I was so unhappy when I had so much. It took years of therapy to understand that I had been trained, molded, and shaped into whatever my parents needed me to be. My wants didn't matter. My preferences didn't matter. Even my personality had been curated and pruned like a bonsai tree. I didn't know who I was outside of who they had made me. I'm still not sure I know. Update 4. My brother's freedom. While I was falling apart in my late 20s, my brother was thriving. He had graduated, paid off his loans through years of hard work, and built a career he loved. He met someone. They got married, a small ceremony I wasn't invited to, though I found out later through social media. He bought a house. Started a family. All without my parents. He went no contact the year he turned 25. Just stopped answering calls. Stopped coming to holidays. Sent a single email explaining that he was done, that the relationship had been one-sided his entire life, and that he was choosing to build a family that actually functioned instead of maintaining one that had broken him. My parents were furious. Then they were hurt. Then they were confused. Then they just stopped talking about him, like he'd never existed. His room became a guest room. His photos came down. His name became something that made my mother's face tighten and my father leave the room. But me, I stalked his social media like an addict. I saw photos of him laughing with his wife, playing with their first child, hiking, gardening, living. He looked happy, genuinely happy, the kind of happy I'd never seen in our house. And I realized something that broke me open. The child who was neglected had escaped. The child who was favored was still trapped. I had spent my whole life thinking I won some kind of sibling lottery. I got the attention. I got the resources. I got the opportunities. But what I actually got was a cage. A beautiful, gilded cage with all the amenities, but still a cage. And my brother, neglected and overlooked, had walked right out the open door while I sat in my golden prison wondering why I couldn't breathe. I tried to reach out to him. Once. It was after my breakdown, after therapy, after I started understanding what had happened to both of us. I wrote him a long email. Not asking for forgiveness, I knew I didn't deserve that, but trying to acknowledge what happened. Trying to say I saw it now. Trying to apologize for being complicit in a system even though I hadn't created it. He responded 2 weeks later. One paragraph. I appreciate you reaching out, and I believe you when you say you're working on understanding things. But I'm not in a place where I can have a relationship with anyone from that family right now, including you. I hope you find what you're looking for. I wish you well. Please don't contact me again. I cried for 3 days. Then I respected his boundary. Because that's what he asked for, and he had every right to ask for it. I'm not entitled to his forgiveness. I'm not entitled to his understanding. I'm not entitled to anything from him just because I finally started seeing what he saw all along. He spent his childhood watching me get everything while he got nothing. The fact that I was also being damaged doesn't erase his damage. The fact that I was also a victim doesn't make me less complicit in a system that hurt him. Both things can be true, and I have to live with that. Update 5. The reward for being the favorite. My parents are 73 and 76 now. My father had a stroke 2 years ago. He's partially paralyzed, needs constant care. My mother has early-stage dementia and is declining fast. They need help with everything. Doctor's appointments, medications, household management, basic daily tasks. And who's here doing it? Me. The golden child. The favorite. The one they invested in. I'm the one who stayed. I'm the one who's here, changing their diapers and managing their medications. Some reward for being the favorite. My brother is living his life 3 states away, happily no contact, building something beautiful with people who actually appreciate him. And I'm in my childhood home, drowning in caregiver duties, trying to keep 2 people alive who still, even now, find ways to criticize me. You're not doing that right, my mother says when I help her with her exercises. Your father always did it better. When are you getting married? My father slurs through his aphasia. You're not getting any younger. Even diminished, even declining, even completely dependent on me, they can't just love me. They can't just be grateful. They can't just see me as their daughter instead of their project. Last week, my mother asked when my brother was coming to visit. He's not, I said for the 100th time. But he should, she said. Family is important. I almost laughed. Almost. But I didn't, because it would have turned into sobbing. She doesn't remember that she drove him away. She doesn't remember all the ways she neglected him. She just remembers that she has 2 children and one of them isn't here. And she expects me to fix it. To bring him back. To make the family whole. As if I ever had that power. As if I ever had any power at all. The truth about golden children. I'm not telling this story to make you feel sorry for me. I'm not asking for sympathy or validation or for anyone to tell me I was a victim too. I'm telling this story because the narrative is always so one-sided. The golden child is the villain. The golden child benefited. The golden child basked in the attention and lorded it over their siblings and became entitled and narcissistic. Sometimes that's true. I've read the stories. I believe them. But sometimes, a lot of times, the golden child was just a child. A child who didn't ask to be favored. A child who didn't understand the dynamics at play. A child who was being used as a trophy, a tool, a projection of parental ambition. My brother got the visible wound. The obvious neglect. The clear villain and victim narrative. I got the hidden wound. The one wrapped in gifts and opportunities. The one that looked like love but felt like suffocation. Both of us were damaged by parents who didn't know how to love children, they only knew how to use them. He was useless to them, so they ignored him. I was useful, so they controlled me. Neither of us was loved. Not really. Not the way children deserve to be loved. My brother is free now. He built his own life. He has people who love him for who he is, not what he achieves. He broke the cycle. His children will never know what it feels like to be ranked against their siblings for parental affection. I'm proud of him, even though he'll never know it. Even though I can't tell him. And me. I'm 32. Single. In a career I don't love. Caretaking for parents who still find ways to make me feel inadequate. Still trying to figure out who I am outside of who they made me. I won. I was the favorite. I got everything. And I lost everything that matters. My brother. My autonomy. My sense of self. Years of my life spent chasing approval that was never going to fill the void. The golden cage turned out to be just a cage. Final thoughts. If you're reading this and you were the neglected sibling, the overlooked one, the one who got nothing while your golden sibling got everything. I see you. Your pain is valid. Your resentment is justified. What happened to you was wrong. But maybe, just maybe, consider this. Your golden sibling might not have been the villain. They might have been another victim. Different wounds, same dysfunctional system. That doesn't mean you owe them forgiveness. That doesn't mean you have to have a relationship with them. That doesn't mean your experience was somehow less painful because they were suffering too. It just means the story might be more complicated than hero and villain. And if you're reading this and you were the golden child, you're allowed to acknowledge your own damage. You're allowed to grieve what you lost. You're allowed to recognize that being favored was its own form of abuse. But you also have to own your role. Even if you didn't create the system, you benefited from it in ways your siblings didn't. Even if you were also a victim, your siblings experienced your favoritism as a weapon used against them. Both things are true. And learning to hold both is part of the work. I'm going to post this and probably delete it in a few hours. I don't know what I'm hoping to accomplish. Maybe just to be seen. Maybe just to put words to something I've carried alone for too long. My brother will probably never read this. And if he does, I hope he knows, I don't blame him for cutting contact. I don't resent him for building a life without me. I hope he's happy. I hope his children know they're loved unconditionally. I hope he broke the cycle in all the ways I'm still trying to. And I hope, someday, I find my own way out of this cage. Even if the door has always been open. Even if I just couldn't see it. Edit. I didn't expect this to get any attention. Thank you to everyone who shared their perspectives, the other golden children who finally felt seen, and the neglected siblings who helped me understand their side better. A few people asked if I'm okay. I am, mostly. I've started working with a family therapist to navigate the caretaking situation and set better boundaries. It's hard. But I'm trying. And to the person who'd met me asking if I regret being the favorite, every single day. If I could go back and trade places with my brother, I would. Not because I think he had it easier, he didn't, but because at least he got to find himself. I'm still looking. Some cages are made of gold. They're still cages. I'm not asking you to feel sorry for me. I'm just asking you to consider that the story you know might not be the whole story. And that sometimes, winning, looks a lot like losing. Take care of yourselves. Here's what I learned from being the favorite. The golden cage is still a cage. Everyone thinks being the golden child means you're loved more. It doesn't. It means you're useful. I was a trophy to display, a project to perfect, an extension of my parents' ambitions. My wants didn't matter. My preferences didn't exist. Even my personality was curated and pruned like a bonsai tree. I didn't ask to be favored. I was 8 years old when they sent me to private school and left my brother in public. I was a child. I didn't scheme to take opportunities from him. I didn't manipulate anyone. These were decisions made by adults. I just received them. But every gift came with a price tag I didn't understand until decades later. The car came with GPS monitoring and a 9 p.m. curfew. The college education came with a major I didn't choose. The attention came with expectations that kept escalating until nothing was ever enough. When I had a nervous breakdown at 17, my mother's first words weren't, "Are you okay?" They were, "Can you retake the exam?" My brother got neglect. I got control. I'm not sure which one is worse. I think we both lost. He learned he didn't matter. I learned I only mattered when I was achieving something. Different wounds. Both deep. Both lasting. I used to resent him for pulling away. For the years of one-word answers and rejected invitations. For building walls I couldn't climb. Now I understand he was the only one smart enough to escape. The neglected child walked out the open door. The favored child sat in her golden prison wondering why she couldn't breathe. He's free now. 3 states away, happily no contact, building something beautiful with people who actually love him. His children will never know what it feels like to be ranked against their siblings. And me? I'm 32, single, caretaking for parents who still find ways to criticize me between diaper changes. Some reward for being the favorite. My parents didn't love me more. They just needed me more. There's a difference I didn't understand until I was 30. I reached out to my brother once. After therapy. After I finally started seeing what he saw all along. 1 paragraph back, "I wish you well. Please don't contact me again." I'm not entitled to his forgiveness. He spent his childhood watching me get everything while he got nothing. The fact that I was also being damaged doesn't erase his damage. Both things are true. And I have to live with that. To the neglected siblings reading this, your pain is valid. Your resentment is justified. What happened to you was wrong. But maybe consider, your golden sibling might not have been the villain. They might have been another victim. Different wounds, same dysfunctional system. That doesn't mean you owe them forgiveness. It just means the story might be more complicated than hero and villain. And to the golden children, you're allowed to acknowledge your own damage. But you also have to own your role. Even if you didn't create the system, you benefited from it in ways your siblings didn't. Both things are true. Learning to hold both is part of the work. I won. I was the favorite. I got everything. And I lost everything that matters. Some cages are made of gold. They're still cages.